Edit and release is the most important setting in Fortnite, and today we're talking about whether you should have it enabled or not. The first thing we absolutely must understand is that depending on whether or not this setting is on determines how our playstyles can be. A lot of people turn edit and release off and play the exact same way as they did when they had it on. The setting is only good if you understand that whether it is on or off determines what kind of pros and cons you can get when fighting. What I'm going to do now is lay out the pros and cons of having edit and release turned on. First off, I need to say that if your passion lays within competitive, then edit and release on comes with loads of cons. If you're someone who doesn't care about competitive but care about having fun, maybe you want to become a successful YouTuber who does those creative montages, then edit and release on might be the play. Let me explain. Edit and release on allows for much faster edits than edit and release off. There is no denying that. The problem comes when someone who is on edit and release starts trying to play perfect peaks. And I know a lot of you guys in the comments are gonna say that you have perfect peaks with edit and release on, but you don't. Right now in the background footage, you see a perfect peak executed with edit and release turned off. My body is fully protected behind the gray lines, meaning my opponent cannot hit me. My crosshair placement is locked in, and this max damage is gonna be effortless to hit. Right now, you see me trying to do the exact same peak with edit and release turned on. Naturally, it is doable to perform the same peak. However, it is not sustainable nor consistent over the long term to perform flicks and movements like shown in the background footage. If you're gonna play edit and release, stop wasting your time on trying to learn perfect peaks. If you play against anyone who has arms and legs in game, you will get traded no matter what. Edit and release is good in competitive if you focus primarily on speed, fast builds, edits, consistency, and if you're someone who isn't already consistent with your edits, edit and release is not for you. If you never miss an edit and release could potentially be good. The cost of missing an edit on edit and release is much higher compared to missing an edit on edit and release off. This is because on edit and release off, you don't have to rely on playing so fast that you trick your opponent. You can rely on good right-hand peaks. Talking about things to rely on, we need to talk about aim. I want us all to be honest and ask ourselves, do I have good enough aim to win every single trade I take? And really take a second to think about that question. Is your aim outstanding? When you're playing, do you notice that your aim is your best attribute as a player? Because in order to become a high-tier player on edit and release, you need to have some of the best aim in the world. The room for mistakes when it comes to shooting when playing on edit and release on is near zero. Players like Peterbot and Buga are both insanely fast and have incredible aim. That is why edit and release turned on works for them. If you feel as though your fight IQ is more so a good attribute of yours, or maybe even just your mechanics in general, then edit and release off will be infinitely better. The set of skills you need for edit and release on to be better is incredibly unique. The amount of players who will benefit from having edit and release on will be ridiculously limited. So all I'm asking is the following. Is your aim your best attribute as a player? And the only person you're fooling if you're not answering truthfully is yourself. Because if it is, and you are insanely consistent when it comes to editing, then I honestly recommend turning edit and release on. But the level of consistency needs to be nearly unmatched, and the aim needs to be so good that you get shocked when you miss a shot. Why do I recommend edit and release off to everyone who doesn't meet the earlier stated criteria? The reason edit and release off is so good is because it's easy to be consistent. When you have edit and release turned off, you can build good fundamentals when it comes to peaks, crosshair placement, and aim. The unfortunate truth, however, is that most players don't understand the fundamentals behind these things. They don't understand using the gray lines as an indicator, and they don't understand the importance of crosshair placement nor how to do it. Now, to my regular viewers, this is gonna sound repetitive, but we need to go over it. As you see in the background footage, these gray transparent lines on the edit menu is what you need to use as an indicator of where you can stand protected. What I like doing is placing my crosshair on the transparent lines, then confirming the edits. If you practice like this in creative a little bit every day, playing slowly, practicing peaks and piece control, you build better fundamentals than 99.99% of other players. Naturally, doing the same things in game is a little bit harder, but building a muscle memory around good peaks and movement will be the best time investment you'll ever make into this game. And unfortunately, building this muscle memory that is so consistent is impossible on edit on release on, because edit on release means you need to play a totally different playstyle. Moving on, I need to address a problem I see nearly everyone that makes the switch to edit on release off make. I genuinely believe that for most of you watching this video, turning edit on release off will result in better tournament performances. However, what so many people do is turning off edits on release, but then those same people are not willing to make the sacrifice of time and dedication to change their playstyle. So they play the exact same stupid peaks, open edits, but now they're just slower at editing. So if you've been thinking about turning edits on release off, then this is your sign to do it. But please do yourself the favor of understanding that you can't have the same playstyle. You need to adapt to turning the setting off. Succeeding with edits on release off is way more methodical than having it on. When you have it on, you just do. You don't think. I also need to touch on a mentality I hear every day when I stream. And that is the mentality that since someone has been on edits on release on since it came out, it's impossible for them to switch to edits on release off. This mentality, although totally understandable, is just plain out wrong. Building a muscle memory around something as repetitive as clicking your edit button 2 times to perform an edit is something that for most of us isn't gonna take longer than 7 days to get good at. You're not gonna be perfect after 7 days, but you're gonna notice exponential improvements every day you get on, even if you've been on edit on release since the setting came out. What is incredibly important though is that you start off slowly, but precisely. You see, building a muscle memory can unfortunately be done the wrong way. A lot of people practice building and editing like players like Mongrel or Vico, but in the process, they mess up every other edit because they attempt going so fast. When you practice like this, you build a muscle memory that is flawed. And this sounds weird, but it is a very real thing. You like to think when practicing that you just naturally become better, but for most of us, we actually need to go in, slow down, and make sure we're practicing our movements and building that muscle memory slowly, consistently, and surely. To conclude today's video, I want to make it very clear that you can definitely go pro on either of the 2 settings. However, playing competitive with edits on release off is like playing football with top tier football shoes, whilst playing with edits on release on is like playing with 30-year-old shoes that look cool but don't work as effectively on the pitch. Objectively speaking, edits on release off is better, unless you have the skill set we previously talked about. There is a reason the majority of professional players has the setting turned off, and naturally, in laggy lobbies, you also can't edit super fast because of the state of the lag on the servers. And lastly, I don't recommend making a switch right now before FNCS. However, when the competitive season is over, make the switch and don't be like the 95% of people who goes back after 2 days. Thank you guys for watching. Catch you in the next one.